kidding me?
Episode 279.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
That's right, everybody. Welcome. Working smarter, not harder. Another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
If you want to take part in the program, you can one way in many ways. Those of us not watching on Facebook, that can be on Twitter. Trent, why don't you tell them how they can do that?
Yeah, you can just use the hashtag NetHeads, not unlike longtime friend of the program, Caper Gourmel, and a listener who visited Logan here, and even the Shoshowitz podcast trivia night, Zalank, Z-A-L-A-N-K, Zach. Just use the hashtag NetHeads.
Oh, by the way, I got to tell you something. Zalank?
That's how it's pronounced. Man,
no, I'm asking.
I get all excited like JoJo, the Idiot Circus Boy, the pretty new pet.
Wow, that is terrifying how well you do that.
Yeah, I am. It's a problem I have too in trivia. Like, there's words that I know and I can read normally, but when you put a phallic symbol or a phallic object in front of my mouth, all I can think is I'm swallowing my words is what I'm doing there.
Very important thing to remember if you ever go drinking at a bar with Trent. Just keep that one in mind.
Yeah, just put it in front of my mouth and I'll swallow whatever's there.
I don't even want to know. If you are following us along on Facebook, more than likely we're not looking. So enjoy making your comments at our expense because we probably won't know. I'll try and know,
true.
But I need to get Trent talking on a tear in order to even try and pull that up. But I can probably do that because, Trent, since we had last talked, you went through a little bit of an experience that we like to call a con. I can't say
a convention.
Yeah, let's not say a Comic-Con.
I would define it as a fandom, pop culture fandom convention.
Okay, I accept that. I'll even take that. How did it go? So that was the Salt Lake City fan convention thingamajigger.
FanX fandom convention is what I would refer to it as legally.
Okay, we get it. There was litigation. I understand.
Yes.
But how was it?
There was a $20,000 fine, and then there was a $4 million fine.
Holy crap! Are you kidding me? They had to pay how much?
For quote, wasting the court's time.
Holy moly. So they just straight up said let's just call it FanX to make it simple.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City FanX. They just straight up said because you have utilized the court's time in a fashion that was not productive, here's a big old fine for you too.
Yeah, so the original ruling was $20,000 and they appealed it and the court was like, what is this doing back here? No, $4 million.
I don't find that very appealing, to be honest.
Oh, I see what you did there. Dude, it was great. We had, for me at least, the highlight, right, was we had a whole slew of people who have worked on Daredevil in the past that were there. And so we were able to throw together a Daredevil panel. That worked on Daredevil comics.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say the key feature talent you guys were counting on went into rehab.
Yeah. He wasn't. You know what? He's working on becoming a better Ben. And it was cool, dude, because there was also one of the dudes who worked on it. Was heading up in the late 2000s. BET's animation department, and it was because of him. This is Denny's Conway. We got the Black Panther animated series, which is awesome. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube. On the Marvel Marvel has a playlist in their YouTube channel of the whole thing. It's only like 6 episodes. It's really, really good though. And he also was the guy behind the Boondocks.
Oh, very nice. Well, the Boondocks I knew him about, but I never knew there was a Black Panther cartoon.
See, that's the problem, right? And he and I talked about this for quite a while. BET killed it before it even launched, and so they only aired it once, starting at like 2 a.m., just so that they could say that, you know, it was BET aired and property and everything else, but they had zero faith in it at all. It's awesome. It's not quite motion comic, but not quite animated series. It's a blend of the two. Most of the cast are African voice actors. Stan Lee even makes a cameo in it. I think it came out in like 2008-ish, if I remember correctly. Anyway, it's really good. It's worth checking out. I'll tweet it out using the hashtag NetHeads if anyone wants to watch it later. But yeah, it was really cool. Oh man, had an awesome origin story told by one of the writers, the guy who kind of did the Shuri storyline. So in the comics, about 10 years ago, Shuri became the Black Panther, right? This is Black Panther's sister. And it was really cool because like he's been like a instructor of Jonathan Mayberry. He's a novelist. He's done a few comics. He's an instructor in women's self-defense. And so he was like all gung-ho on having like this kick-ass woman. Also just a cool origin story too of him growing up in rural Pennsylvania. He's done a few comics. He's an instructor in women's self-defense. Weird, like, so he was like, okay, I didn't know if I was the only one hearing that or not.
No, everybody was, but don't worry about it.
Okay.
It'll never make the final podcast.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Exactly.
Yeah, anyway, so he grew up in rural Pennsylvania, very segregated town, and lo and behold, his dad was the leader of the local KKK chapter.
Oh,
and it was I want to say it's Fantastic Four 154, where the Thing and Human Torch go and help T'Challa because he's been arrested in I want to say it's no, it's not South America, but it's a country where apartheid is taking place, and he's arrested for it. Not South America, South Africa. Anyway,
South Africa.
Yeah, and he was like, "Whoa, what is this? Is weird." He was arrested just because he was black, and he went and talked to his school librarian, and she's like, "Oh, well, that's apartheid," and he's like, "What's that?" And then she like went into this whole like thing of showing him books of what was happening at the time. You know, apartheid was still going on in South Africa, and he just talked about how like Black Panther saved his life from ending up like his dad. If his dad could see him now, he'd just be spinning in his grave.
Well, he probably, based on that description, I'm going to say probably is. But I'm
cool origin story though.
I'm sorry to deviate slightly, but I just have to say too how probably sad it is in a statement about me that the only reason why I had any insight into the apartheid aspect of the ongoings in South Africa was because of Lethal Weapon 2.
Is it mentioned in there? I don't even remember.
It's a major part of the subplot. The bad guys are operating under diplomatic immunity.
Damn right. You're right.
So unfortunately, obviously not as worldly or politically oriented as I am now. By the way, again, I apologize for derailing, but I just have to say as well, Zelank, if I have my people straight, the whole reason why that was a big plot point when you mentioned his name, because as you may or may not know, Trent, if you go to netheadsonair.com, you can find a link to our Patreon, and Zelank is our first dead Gungan.
Yeah, he in fact he tweeted about it. He's like, how did it take me so long to even find it?
We don't talk about it that much. That's why.
We don't talk about it.
Because we're so fantastic at promotion.
Yeah.
But, sir, I hold in my hand every dead Gungan. If you're a subscription level of a dead Gungan monthly, you will get a postcard. You will notice these are envelopes. The first run aren't going to be postcards because I'm cheap, but I have some awesome cards that are thematically themed. Well, I guess that's a double statement there, but they're themed based off I'll just say a Jim Henson property. So you have that to look forward to, sir. And if you're the only one for a while, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get the full set in 6 months.
Nice.
So it sounds like you had a good. And how was the turnout? Based on, for those that aren't aware, Trent made mention of it. Basically, there was a big brouhaha around what used to be deemed the Salt Lake Comic Con.
Yes.
Because San Diego Comic Con kind of said, "Hey, Comic Con is our thing," and the whole reason why I think it was a major brouhaha is because the Salt Lake Comic Con had a car or a van or something show up that was branded Salt Lake Comic Con, so that at the San Diego Comic Con, so they're like, okay, now you're really trying to associate yourself with us.
Yeah. So it's. I mean,
I'm not, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. You don't have to
No,
rehash this if you don't.
Absolutely. I think any lawyer will tell you. It's copyright is very hard to show, especially for just a generic term like con or comic. But where you can get stuck is when you're purposely trying to create brand confusion. And they had a billboard that said, Comic-Con, next stop, Salt Lake City.
There you
That
go.
was on the San Diego Convention Center exit. So yeah. I mean, because you can buy booth space and go and advertise your con at San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So and again, this was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but the results of that lawsuit are going to have ramifications throughout the country. Like
exactly. Yep.
I think Dragon Con may be covered. But like New York went by New York Comic Con, and that will more than likely change. Out here in the San Francisco Bay Area, I think the major one has been in San Jose, but I think they are just rebranding themselves under, or they have been operating already under, like Heroes and Villains or Fan Expo type things, which, honestly speaking, after having been through the San Diego Comic-Con experience, I mean, it really is more about fan-driven and fan-powered appreciation than like. So I think go with the fan event thing is kind of okay.
Absolutely. I mean, I was on 3 comic book panels of maybe 5 that took place.
Oh,
entirely. There were 3 comic book vendors there.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
I see. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm understanding, and that people listening or watching may have the same understanding I do. You're just saying that at this con, of all of the events, only a few of them were comic book themed. So it's not like there were only 5 panels at the whole convention.
Thank you. Yes. Which is why I try to use the term fandom, right? Pop culture fandom in lieu of Comic Con, because it's not a Comic Con, right? It's not a convention about comics.
And they really haven't been for a long time. Like, I can remember going to what used to be deemed like a comic book convention back in the day. And really what you found were a lot of tables with a lot of people with a lot of long boxes. So that way you could do your hunt for your, there is a great... God damn it, I don't know if I should say something. Let me just say there's going to be a Smodcast in the near future that has a very interesting angle on back issues that is coming up, and it's something I never would have thought of. But, like if I were to go back, actually right now, I think the one issue of any comic book that I would want to be able to go out and hunt, like let's say I were to just build a collection of this one comic book because it was my first and I had a novel idea to just collect that comic book. Let's just work in that theoretical for right now. Unfortunately, I think the one that I most connect with and remember would probably be Secret Wars number 8, because that was the first premiere of the well, not really the premiere, but it was the origin story of the black symbiote Spider-Man costume. We had seen it in Amazing Spider-Man quite a few times. Actually, I think if I go back in my Spider-Man history, if there's any one comic book and comic book cover that I would really directly connect with, it would still be an Amazing Spider-Man, but it was and I don't even know the number offhand, but it was the one of note because it was an actual picture of an individual, because the whole story was Peter Parker is going through his typical difficulties in trying to find a place to get into his costume, which, by the way, Spider-Man Homecoming wonderfully portrayed with the back alley changing scene. It's like, how is this kid gonna... So I think he's at an airport at the time, and he's getting out of his costume, actually getting ready to travel or something. and he's in a janitor's closet, and for whatever reason, it just so happens a photojournalist stumbles in and catches Spider-Man mid-change and takes a picture. And the cover of this comic book was a real picture. It wasn't a painting. It wasn't a drawing. It was an actor that was paid to portray Peter Parker being mid-change, getting caught changing his costume. Like, that's the one that resonates in my mind the most. But I mean, I'm sure there are a bunch of episodes or issues that I could relate to. There was like the one where Ned Leeds was basically falsely revealed to be the Hobgoblin.
Yes.
And what I was this is a long way of saying the black costume actually premiered. It was an interesting twist because Secret Wars was an ongoing saga, but suddenly almost every comic book in Marvel's lineup had a time jump because the heroes went away. They suddenly disappeared and then just suddenly came back. From our perspective, a bit of time
we're
later.
back and Spider-Man has a new costume. What?
And we don't know why. From a marketing standpoint, you and I should really take notice of this kind of stuff. 'Cause that's genius type of thing. By the way, Trent, happy Batman Day.
Is it the 27th?
No, today's the 15th, and it's recognized as Batman Day as well. There are multiple Batman days. There's multiple Superman days. Just go with it.
Sure, it's fine.
And as a matter of fact, if you're listening to this and you're in the Southern California area, you probably still have the ability to get tickets for Fat Man Beyond Live, the very first Fat Man Beyond, the rebranded Fat Man on Batman that they're celebrating on Batman Day down there at the Skim and Villainy Cantina. So go ahead and take that in if you can. So anyway, if I were to collect anything, I think it would be that one issue. But I also think now that would be a very costly issue to try and. I'm not sure if that one would be what they would call like a wall comic, or what's the term? Because it's going to be a comic that's bagged and boarded up on the wall. It's more costly.
Yeah.
Wall boarded,
no.
not
Yeah,
waterboarded. That's torture.
No. Yeah.
Definitely not.
It is. Yeah. No, I mean, it's still available. It's with the new Venom movie coming out, it might be more collectible now than it has been in the past. But I saw a couple of them come through my shop at one point, and I mean, they sold quickly, but there's enough of them out there.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely one of the ones I would want to grab. Actually, I think in my recent collection, because I was always bad with back ordering, which I'm sure is a pain that you felt when you were running Death Ray Comics.
So hard.
Because you've got you want the benefit of knowing people are going to come in and get the comics, but if you're pulling orders and they don't come in, on what you would consider a decent schedule, that's money sitting. You gotta sell them biscuits, right? What's the term? You gotta move the donuts, whatever.
Move them sausages.
There you go, the sausages. And I love sausage. Anyway,
Me too.
Boy, I'm glad I did that nice and isolated for everybody to capture. But I wouldn't pick them up in an orderly fashion, and I know that in the recent comic history, one of the more popular first-run issues in the Spider-Man collectible area had been the President Obama cover. And
yes,
I actually have one of those, but my long box had no lid. It was in a garage with so whatever.
Yeah.
They're not an investment. They're for my own edification.
It's true.
Even though I do have an Amazing Spider-Man number 300. I've discussed that before on the show, and that's like the first.
Hold on to it.
I think that's the first Eddie Brock Venom
Yes.
issue. Anyway, neither here nor there. So getting back to it, how was turnout after the whole rebranding at the con? Was it about the same?
It was a smaller Saturday than there has been in the past. The Thursday was big, the Friday felt big. The Saturday was noticeably smaller than it has been in the past. As a patron, as someone walking the aisles, it was kind of nice.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that's kind of unique about that particular fan event. Am I using that term?
Oh, yeah.
There is no Sunday at the convention because it's Utah, and Sunday is the Lord's Day, Trent. So,
right. Sabbath.
Yeah,
Sabbath.
Yeah, whatever, man. So, you're talking to the.
I don't roll on fucking Shabbos, okay?
Fair enough, my friend. Fair enough. Oh, by the way, I gotta get the box. I think there's something in one of the loot crates I should get to you because it's literally a Big Lebowski pin.
Oh,
But it's the Loot Crate one. Neither here nor there. We'll talk about that later. Because I've got a Loot Crate I've been waiting to unbox with you. Because, there's nothing more fun in an audio podcast than unboxing something and revealing the contents to just the guy on the other end of the phone, basically.
That's nothing I like more than seeing what's in your box.
You're a dirty man. Remember, we're on Facebook right now. It's a family place.
I know, dude. We don't want to get Alex Jonesed.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Stick a pin on that because I want you to be able to speak to that as well.
Stuck.
So what I was saying with that fan event, though, is that it's kind of unique because there is no Sunday. So Saturday has both the benefit of being the first day weekend, but also the first weekend day of the show, but also it has the detriment of being the last day of the con, which traditionally is your slower day.
Right.
So,
yeah. It was just it's just interesting because you're right. And this is the weekend after Labor Day. School has already started for all the children, right? But it just blew me away the Thursday and Friday to see how many parents took their kids out of school. And I don't know if that was a preemptive strike, so they didn't have to deal with Saturday because everyone's like wise to how it is now. Additionally, they did also have aside from the aforementioned person who wasn't able to make the con, they had other people drop out last minute too. Paul Rubens didn't end up coming, which was kind of like if I were to get a photo op with someone, it would probably be Paul Rubens. Like I would probably. I mean, I've never forked up the money for a photo op, but if I did, he might be on that list.
Well, I would say he's definitely iconic enough to where you'd want to have. Look, I was never a fan of Jerry Springer, but I do have a framed Polaroid of me standing with Jerry Springer somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's
right?
Jerry Springer.
Yeah. And then oh crap, what's her name? She's been on the last 2 seasons of Luther. Or no, the not this last season, but the season before and the season before that of Luther, and then she's also the Cylon, the sexy Cylon on the reboot of Katie. I forget her last name.
No, Katie Sackhoff played Starbuck. You're thinking of. I know which one you're talking about. We always refer to the Cylon in the red dress, and I'm ashamed we don't know this.
You know
this
what?
This is the reason why the Webernets are nice, because usually they can tell us these things.
I know. Katie Sackhoff, she was supposed to be there, and so maybe one. Katie didn't make it. Maybe the other one did. I'm not sure. Regardless, there were a few people who dropped out. Whether or not that affected sales or not, I have no idea. But I'll tell you who did come, and that was Tim Curry. And just trying to be like as sensitive as possible. My friend that got a photo op with him and is a huge Rocky Horror Picture fan. I just said, so like, I mean, how vocal is he? He's like, oh, dude, he's pretty with it, like able to like, say thank you, I appreciate you coming, stuff like that. So
really, yeah, because he did have some health issues. I don't know, is he wheelchair bound now?
Yes, he is in a wheelchair, but yeah, he's still making the rounds and stuff. If I remember right, he was in I think it was NBC did a live musical production that he was in. It was something that he had been in the past. It was a couple of years ago, almost right after.
I mean, Fox did have their own revival of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Okay, yeah, and he made a cameo in it in the state that he's in now. So I mean, he's doing, not 100%, but he's getting out, he's meeting fans and stuff.
And that's good. That's good to hear.
Absolutely.
By the way, sure. I apologize. I'm officially done with my coffee, so now I got to put the trays back in. So I had a few moments sounding normal. Now we're back to me sounding like a mush mouth. Well, I wonder then, it almost sounds like the con may have suffered from its own reputation, and that's the reason why it may have had a slower Saturday.
Maybe, or maybe it's con fatigue, or maybe still having a ginormous amount of people is a win.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't really matter. It was a slow day, but it was still a whole bunch of people, so we're happy.
Yeah, but they were still, just rolling around in a big bed of filthy money at the end.
Yeah, which I'm sure they are, because really, well, that's the thing that I do feel for it when it comes to like these major events, because it's kind of a blessing and a curse when somebody drops out, because it is, okay,
Totally.
Well, we're going to have to refund any of the special photo ops or anything, but one less hotel, one less set of travel
Right.
arrangements, and everything else. And as long as everybody gets to get their money back, and if it's time enough to cancel, that's a good thing. But yeah, the amount of money that conventions have to put out in order to operate the convention is probably insane. But at the same time, when you think about it, they're still making money. So the amount of money to be made must be triply insane, to be able to move forward with the investment. Not to mention, even in the time I was able to go to this event under the previous brand, I was amazed at the number of people that did turn out. It's definitely an environment where that outlet has been needed for people, I guess is the best way to put it.
For sure. I mean, they're like, and in that same vein, because Utah does have this I don't know, this case of conformity in the popular culture of the predominant religious culture, and so there's a sense of not being able to like put your stamp on things because everyone else is so similar. The Salt Lake area, its haunted houses are knucking futz, dude. It is unbelievable. So the haunted house is already running, right? And they are insane. There were a couple of haunted houses that were advertising there, had booths set up, and just good Lord, the extent that they would went in just into their advertising of what they were going to have was frightening as hell. Check back a couple of seconds. We were just talking about people that came to the convention. Thank you. I stayed in a hotel downtown. The hotel I stayed in was great. It is a block away from the park where most of the people without homes spend their time. And in between the hotel and that park is the state-run liquor store, the only place to buy hard liquor in Utah is a state liquor store. So I went in there to grab a few beers after, I think it was the second night. And lo and behold, Austin Amelio and Stephen Ogg of The Walking Dead season 8 and 7 were in there, right? And it was so funny because they had their FanX security with them, so just two buff dudes in black t-shirts that said security. And I swear to God, I was the only person in a packed liquor store that even knew who in the fuck these two white dudes were.
That's always. I mean, it's not like it was. It's not like it was Norman Reedus. You know what I'm saying?
Right? Yeah. But it was funny too, because Stephen Ogg, he's got he's got the crown of the balding, and then all the back and the hair is just out and crazy. It looks like he's just had a rough day or whatever. They just look like two normal dudes. And between the security guards, those two, and myself, we made up the white population in the liquor store. It was just, I don't know. It was just funny to me to see these security guards with these guys around a ton of people who could give a shit less about who they were.
Yeah. Well, man, but did you at least say hey or something?
No.
I see, at least, and I kind of get that too, because through my unique access for the Comic-Con, I was relatively close in proximity to quite a few actors from one of the few TV shows I will spend my time watching live, and that's the CW's The Flash. And, and the most I could ever muster, and mind you, there were even times when I wasn't even in Gen Pop, if you will. I was in an opportunity where you could walk up and say hey, and the most I could say is, hey Grant, love the show, or hey Carlos, love the show. That's all I could muster, because I'm just like, it's the Flash.
Well, I honestly, I was more I would have loved to have talked to him, because I honestly believe Stephen Ogg is a standout actor. Everything that he's in, he's not unlike Negan, and just he kind of commands the scene in everything that he's in. Anyway, or at least in that series, I was more afraid of putting the security guards on edge, of being what, we got one, move on it, you know what I mean, or something like that, because I'm sure you're you're taking that job because you can handle shit when it goes down, man. And I don't want to give him a reason to like, oh, we got a crazy in overalls over here.
Move along, Grizzly Adams.
Come on, Big Ben.
Time to get it moving. So it sounds like it was a good experience, though. That's nice.
It was, man. It was good, and it was great too because I only had in past I've had upwards of 12 panels, and this time I only had 3. They were all on the last day. So the first 2 days I was able to get just kind of talk to comic artists and get some commissions done, and so it was very relaxing. I took it as my summer vacation.
And that's and it really was too, because
Yeah.
regardless of what the temperature is, you were staying in a hotel, so I'm sure that AC went way the hell down.
It was a nice 66 degrees the whole time.
You're all sweet, blessed air conditioning. I love you.
In fact, I turned it down to as low as it would go, which was 62, because damn, those feather comforters are so hot, man.
Yeah, it really the down comforter or almost any type of covering they have in hotels are so dense that it really is. You're like, okay, I don't want to be completely bundled up, but I do need more than just the thin top sheet. And in this case, the only other thing you're offering me is a gigantic sweat blanket. So
yeah, I mean, and granted, I've been acclimated throughout the summer to sometimes use a sheet on top.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes.
I mean, that's at home, that's
right. So I'm just saying it was kind of a physical jump for me to bundle up.
Yeah, but at least you had the opportunity, and that's what's important, my friend.
It was great. I'll tell you what was not great, Will. I think so. I stayed at I believe the company is SRG. It's the Marriott's conglomerate, right? So basically any 3-star plus hotel you go to is either owned by Hilton or Marriott, regardless of what the title is, right? And they just do not plan on anyone watching television anymore.
Oh, really?
There were maybe 7 HD channels, the local channels in standard def, and that was about it.
Well, hell's bells, man. Yeah, I think I kind of went through the same thing in San Diego. There wasn't a lot. I think they really count on people using their own media now in order to do that. By the way, I just want to do a quick shout out, especially since they're watching on Facebook right now. Happy belated birthday to Leroy Velasquez,
Z Digital 13
on Twitter. Happy birthday, sir. Always thinking about you, always appreciating you. Yeah, San Diego, it was the same kind of thing. I really think that they just count more on people using the internet, or they realize that there aren't a lot of people that are like hunkering down in a hotel room to hope, like I think at most the only thing I watched was like late at night. I was just trying to stay awake because my kid was getting in the shower, and I don't know, as a parent, I feel like I should be awake while they're awake. Not that I expected her to like sneak out and go down to the hotel bar to try and score a drink or something. I don't know. And so I temporarily, and this is kind of timely in a weird way, I caught like the last 20 minutes of Smokey and the Bandit, the original, which
nice.
And and I've talked about it before.
Timely,
right?
Given
with
everything.
The passing.
Yeah,
really, and that's the kind of thing we're gonna keep hitting against now. You and I we're men of a certain age. Me a little more.
It's weird,
so than
man.
You. And
it's weird though, right?
Yeah, Tim Curry's in a wheelchair. Burt Reynolds has passed.
It's just one of those things because like we're all gonna die, right? Like that's and Kevin has talked about this way more eloquently than I ever could. But that's why we can connect to pieces of media sometimes, because we're trying to make sense of our own impending doom. And so, when I would see celebrity deaths affect my parents, I'd just always be like, fucking 87 years old, get over it. Like everyone's going to die, And now when someone dies that I like, feel like I have like a connection to it's like, oh shit, I'm never going to see that or this or that again from them. I'm never going to have that shared experience with them again. It's jarring, man.
Well, yeah. And I know that I personally didn't have much of a vested interest in seeing Quentin Tarantino's movie about the Manson family. But hearing that Burt Reynolds had been cast into it had piqued my interest. So I'm kind of bummed that we didn't get to see that. But if you listen to the latest episode of Smodcast, director Adam Rifkin got to do a movie with Burt Reynolds, which apparently is amazing. So listen to the podcast and then check out the movie.
I haven't seen it, but the way Kevin introduces Rifkin, I mean, he even tears up at one point talking about this, the last movie star.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's on my queue now because it sounds really impactful. In fact, it's funny because I not unlike Kevin remember watching Smokey and the Bandit, and my mom giving my dad kind of these dirty looks and him just grinning because he loved it so fucking much that he was like letting his kid watch it. My mom was kind of a prude when it came to like media and stuff that we watched. So I totally could understand like where he was talking about like, Burt Reynolds was my old man's actor, right? Yeah, just super interesting.
Yeah, and I got to say though, Smokey and the Bandit didn't really age well. I mean, not the world's greatest movie, if you will.
No.
No. As a sound guy, I'm like, why is it that so many of these state troopers sound exactly the same? What the hell is going on here? But it still doesn't matter. I mean, Burt Reynolds, it was without a doubt an icon, realistically speaking. Very
Kevin,
prolific through many eras of film and entertainment. And I think if any one thing, if you've heard the way Kevin ever does an intro on a Smodcast, I think everyone only hopes that one day they might get an intro from Kevin Smith about them. Realistically speaking.
Oh my God! Yeah,
I want somebody
to
talk about me the way Kevin Smith talks about people.
Yep. Yeah. I could not agree with you more.
Yeah, but let's stop plugging the network. Hey, Trent, we are NetHeads. We're supposed to be tech oriented, so let's get into a little bit of tech. I am sure that regardless of whatever hole you've been hiding in, recovering from the fan event, as you describe it, you probably caught wind that there was a little bit of some upgrade announcements coming out of a certain company in the Cupertino area of California. And I got to tell you, I talked about this with Revelstoke Jim the other night. Sorry, I cheated. Don't judge me.
Daddy's not mad.
I hope not. I really, looking at it objectively speaking, the only things that, from my perspective, Apple was able to bring to the table, whether they were talking about their watches or their phones, is really edge-to-edge screens, faster processors, better cameras. That's it.
Yes.
All right, granted, you can do an ECG or EKG, whatever you want to call it, via a watch now, which is amazing, but, I'm more concerned about, off rhythms, and mine already does that. I just know that I have been an Apple fanatic for quite some time, but I got to tell you, I didn't see a single thing that motivated me to want an upgrade. Not one.
But again, isn't this the modus operandi for the S models of iPhones, right? Like anytime they do an S update, it's not a true update, right? It's never an OS update. It's at best a couple of tweaks on the hardware. But when I think of an S, like if you're looking at like cars and motorcycles, this is like the sport version, right? This is the one that's supposed to haul freaking balls, but it's not. It doesn't.
No,
right?
no, it's all about speed. And who knows what they'll make for the next announcement. I mean, my upgrade cycle puts me at mid-June next year, so obviously it's good none of this applies to me. But I'm also starting to think that I'm more into the smart home when it comes to my tech addiction than my phone, because my phone already covers the basic bases for me. My watch does exactly what I need it to, which is alert me to messages from my phone from people that need me to know information right away. I mean, I've got everything I need, and until I run into battery performance, I'm not marketable. But Jim brought up a good point too. Kind of ballsy, straight up calling a model XS, because
Oh shit, I didn't even think about
Yeah,
that.
neither did I.
Oh wow.
Because it truly is nothing but excess. That's all it
That's
is.
interesting, man. Well, and what you just described, is a tech marketer's worst nightmare. Someone who is happy with their current product.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And you hit on the one thing that will always bite us in the ass as consumers: battery life.
Yeah.
Because the phones, I mean, granted, battery life is much better than it's ever been. They could be better. They are designed to fail, right? It's not unlike tire manufacturers in Formula One or in NASCAR. The tires are designed to wear out, to force the cars to come in and pit, to make things more interesting. Phones are designed to eventually have a life that can no longer be sustained, so that you have to upgrade.
But let's look at the interesting ways that the companies take that into account. I think Apple, even after Battery Gate, they are still kind of reliant on the battery approach, because they don't reverse, they don't backwards compatible themselves out of relevance as much as they used to, because, you know, they've got all these decent running processors.
Right.
Whereas in the Android market, who doesn't have as large of a market share as Apple, they are more accommodating in most models with being able to have an extra battery and a battery you can switch out, whereas Apple has locked it down. You've got no choice. It's it's that battery or a new phone, basically. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because as much as I've bitched and complained about the Droid Turbo that I have and freaking hate, it still works. I've had it since 2015. I want something new, but it still works. I always have. I'm very rarely ever not next to my laptop or a tower.
Bitch, don't lie to me, because
white guy problem.
Don't say these things, because it just goes to show how many times you're ignoring me in the goddamn day.
That said, but that is a good point though. The problems that I do have, and this is so bizarre, and it's just with this phone and my carrier, Verizon, who normally in the Intermountain West is the juggernaut, right? Everyone's piggybacking off of them. When I'm on campus, I don't know what it is. When I'm at work, I have no, like, if I'm not logged in on my computer through the Verizon messaging app, I don't get anything. I don't get calls. I don't get texts or anything. And then for it to realign with towers once I leave, I can't just tell it to realign. I have to turn my phone off and back on again. It's been a huge major problem. There's nothing they can do that they've said that'll fix it. I really want to switch to another provider and pick up the OnePlus 5.
So, and I can't even remember. You're saying a bunch of numbers now, and it's confusing. I remember, actually, I've still got it here. The whatever phone that I had when I was on the Google Fi program, or Fi 5.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things that I felt, and I still kind of do. In some ways, it is intrusive, but I like the way that Apple does have such great integration with their products. If I'm sitting at my laptop, it doesn't matter if you text me from your Android phone.
Right.
As long as my mobile phone and that computer are on the same network, I'm going to get your text message on any one of my devices.
Yeah.
And I know that when I was on Fi, I kind of had that, because it wasn't, if people would use Google Messenger or whatever their instant messaging product is now, I would be able to get those on my phone within the same area, although I had to actually make that dividing line, because it forced me to use
too much.
one messaging product versus the other messaging product available on the phone, and I found that one handled the job better, whereas Apple doesn't give you a choice. It's all or nothing in there.
Right.
But their collaborative messaging, I guess is the best way to put it, or their what is the term for that, when you're going cross-platform on devices all using the same thing? I don't know. I can't It's not coming to my mind because, like you said, you put these microphones in front of our heads and we become idiots.
Yeah, and all you think is, oh,
Yeah,
oh,
just stop.
oh.
Don't do
Swallowing our words. We're swallowing our words.
Oh, okay. That's not what I thought you were doing.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought we were going to
absolutely.
get kicked off Facebook again. No. But anyway, their system integration and being able to have everything available through everything is very beneficial for me. So that I do like, and the way I get my notifications now, it all works good. But to a certain degree, it would be nice to know that if I am texting you and you're at a tower, that you are also, or your computer, that you're still getting that message on your computer too. Not that I'm openly harassing you. I mean, I only send you compared to how I used to be, I only send you a few messages.
Yeah.
Now my wife gets all the pain.
It's only a few unwanted pictures of your genitalia.
But one. I limit myself to one at a time now.
I'm joking, folks. Will is not assaulting me digitally, okay? It's a joke for comedic effect. It landed poorly. I accept that.
No, it didn't land poorly. I liked it. But no, look, seriously speaking now, we live in a time where you do have to clarify that. I mean, you can't joke about certain things. What was it that something had come out where somebody was joking about something, but it was taken very seriously? Oh, the whole James Gunn thing. Never mind.
Yeah.
But, that's a perfect example of making controversial statements for the sake of whatever form of entertainment you think you're trying to generate, and it backfiring. I mean, could that comment alone get us kicked off of Facebook or kicked off of YouTube or something else?
Probably.
For making that suggestive comment. We don't know.
If the right person sees it and is offended enough and wants to put enough effort into it, yes.
Now, speaking of which, let's take that pin back out now. We've talked about tech. We've talked about technology. We've got the bases covered. Well, somewhat. I'm still kind of torn on this Anki vector robot. I don't know if you recall me bringing this up before. So anki.com, if you go to it, they've got a little robot called Vector, okay? And it has track wheels is the appropriate term. Same type of technology the tank uses. It's got belt-driven propulsion. It is an artificial intelligence mini robot. It's about, yay big. It's not very big at all. And
about the size like a Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, maybe a little bit smaller. And it's kind of a brother to their other product, which was a little a little device you could program called Cosmo. So you could program this robot to do things. So this is like the Nest extension.
Like the Mogwai?
Yeah, no. What was his name was Gizmo. Nice.
Oh, you're right. Damn it, you're right. Yeah, Cosmo's the dog in the Marvel universe.
Exactly. So this little guy, though, I was really entertained by the concept, and they said that in development they tried to focus. If you're going to have a robot, you need to make it, and it's supposed to be for companionship, not that kind, you dirty buggers.
Ooh, hey, you push hard enough, it'll fit.
No, not on this little guy. At least I hope not, or you got more issues, my friend.
You're gonna have to work up to it, that's for sure.
So with this though, they figured you have to have certain primary drivers, and they can't make emotions yet, but we can do certain things. So with this, they kind of went with the focus of it's driving. The things that drive its primary functions are it wants to help you, so it wants to be helpful. And it's curious, so it has those things. But realistically speaking, when it all came down to it, you also really, in general, don't want it to run around your house. You're going to have it more kind of like a tabletop robot, if you will. So I realized, wait a second, I'm obsessed with this little guy that's about $200. But realistically speaking, it's an Echo Dot on wheels, is what it really is.
Thank you. And okay, so you use two words that I think are important in unpacking a little bit, right? You said it wants to be helpful. That's how they are marketing it to us, and how we are interpreting its algorithms and learning capabilities as helpful, right? It does not feel.
Right.
It is programmed to serve a purpose, which we interpret as being helpful. Curious, right? It is programmed to acquire new information and interpret that. If you want to call that curious, that's fine. It doesn't have an innate desire to understand its surroundings as a sense of understanding its place in the universe, which is what I would consider to be curious, right? So AI is such a like people get so freaked out by this term AI, and it's unpacking like kind of how it thinks, quote unquote, like any computer, right? We can demystify the scariness, of whatever cable news network is trying to frighten us about the new AI that's coming out.
And with this, in this particular little guy's case, they did recently release another video that I thought was kind of funny because a couple months ago they just ran into a scenario where they had two of these little guys on the same desk. And it knows to go home to its charging station, right? So it can track its way back to that. Or it's been programmed to. Let me use your terminology to make sure I'm aligned correctly.
No, I'm just saying. I mean, we can use whatever terminology you want, but just so that we're not like scaring ourselves.
Yeah. But they had this funny situation where they told it, okay, Vector, go home. And in this case, you got two robots trying to go back to one docking station.
Right.
And what they ended up discovering is that even though it does not have the ability to recognize one vector can't recognize another vector. It has no type of communication between the two. But it did have certain subroutines that kind of dictated some innate behaviors, kind of like how what it does when it encounters an object or when it is bumped. So you kind of had this really slow-moving, very, very low-profile wrestling match between two little robots trying to go for the same ramp, and it was cute, but it really makes you think about these things. But the device itself, it requires an internet connection. It's got to be connected to the cloud so that way it can do things. It can look up the weather for you and the like. But really, it's just an Echo Dot on wheels. So why would I get this other than having a little robot that'll tool around my desk and just do things?
Because it looks like a skid steer, like a Bobcat or Caterpillar rubber track skid steer, and Wall-E had a child.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? It is just adorable.
This is the product of robot skid steer fucking.
Hey! Watch.
I mean,
doing
procreating.
There you go. Okay, so there, I said my piece about the Anki vector, even though I still want one. Even though it'll just tool around. I mean, because realistically speaking, it's like you can say, hey Vector, what's the weather outside? Or you can say, hey Echo, what's the weather outside? Or Alexa, what's the weather outside?
Currently, in Brentwood, it's 68 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun.
Yeah.
Today, you can expect mostly sunny weather, with a high of 77 degrees and a low of 50 degrees.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Are you getting the smoke haze still?
No, actually, the other day my wife took notice of the fact that the sky just looked so beautiful because we could actually see the sky. We could,
right.
There wasn't smoke. You could see the nearby mountain. You had visibility greater than 2 or 4 miles. So yeah, it's been nicer, obviously. But from what I understood, at the height of all the fires in California and Washington, and everything, that was also streaming over to, being carried by the wind into the Utah area as well. Like, so you were seeing them in Salt Lake as well, right?
Yes,
I mean the greater Salt Lake area.
Yeah,
and the Cache Valley,
quote unquote Wasatch Front. Wasatch Mountain Range. Yeah, and we've got a ton of fires going on around here. So today it's still fairly foggy or smoky.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me hungry. I feel like everyone is now barbecue or beef jerky, and I want to take a bite.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not beef jerky. That's calm down there, Ace.
You got a pretty chunk of cheek right there. I'd like to just slaver it up and just take a chunk out of it and chew on it for a while. And some fried taters and mustard.
Can I mute you from here?
Sorry,
starting to frighten. I was thinking I was doing good with
full
losing
Sling Blade for a second.
Don't go full Sling Blade. I've been feeling good about weight loss. I thought I thought I was looking a little more narrow along here, and now you're talking about like frying up my cheeks and serving them like jerky. I'm frightened, man.
Chewing them like bubble gum.
Okay, so speaking of James Gunn, let's take that pin back out of the board and talk about something else that I feel personally given the content and the real world activities of the audience, is way overdue. Although I am open to hearing the counter argument from anybody that was a fan, I guess is one way to put it. But
Okay.
that is the fact that basically Alex Jones has been kicked off of almost every single platform of social media as
Yes.
InfoWars. Do you think this is appropriate, Trent?
Oh, wow. Okay, so everyone gets upset, right? Not everyone, but people get upset because it's well, is it free speech? Is it he should be able to say what he wants, even if he's bullying people. They have the opportunity to step away from that, this, that, and the other. What I think most people need to understand, not unlike the great South Park episode that we watched where we saw the human centipede, you have to understand that these organizations are not public utilities, right? This is albeit a publicly traded entity, it is still a private enterprise. It is not a public utility owned by the government, and therefore does not have to adhere to standards. If everyone read their agreements before they said yes, poor little Stan wouldn't have had to eat the cuttlefish as it came out of the gentleman in front of him's rear end.
Wait, what? What?
So when that episode was of South Park was on
Okay.
when I was in the hotel, so it reminded me. But it's all about service agreements, right? And it is a private company, right? And so they reserve the right, not unlike any other place, to not make your freaking cake. All right, let's put it in that parlance, right? If you reserve the right to not make a cake for a couple's wedding because you don't agree with their marriage, then they can agree to not let you on their platform if they don't agree with what you're saying. It sucks, right? Because it's so big that you feel like it is a public utility that everyone should have access to, but it's not.
No, definitely not. And that's the way this has happened has been kind of funny to sit back and watch as two guys who are very much not part of the Alex Jones demographic. I think that's the safest way to put it. He
Sure.
I don't cotton to his conspiracy theories. I don't cotton to his approach. I know that I don't think there's ever been something we have done via our podcast or videos that has encouraged somebody to discharge a weapon inside of a pizzeria.
Sure hope.
I don't think we've ever done anything that has caused people to harass other people out in the real world.
People that have gone through, without a doubt, the most difficult thing that a parent can go through.
Yeah, things I can't even conceptualize, right? Nor do I want to. So for me, though, it's been very amusing to watch the way this has unraveled because, there was certain pressure, I think, that started to get applied from those who would be referred to as the left. That was kind of the preemptive motivation here. First it was iTunes, then it was Facebook, then it was Twitter. First it may have been YouTube, suspension on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube was the first place.
And I don't disagree with any of this because, like you said, these are private platforms. They have the right to choose who does what on their platform. They've got to answer to boards of directors. They've got to answer to investors. YouTube is owned by Google, who's got its own headaches and problems. So all these things come into play, but it's been really great to watch, only if not because of just seeing it happen, but seeing Alex Jones go to Washington, D.C. and standing next to Marco Rubio and trying to argue that his First Amendment rights are being squashed when, mind you, any one of us can have the infrastructure on our own to broadcast if we weren't affiliated with Kevin Smith, if we weren't going out through YouTube or Facebook or anything else, we could still cobble together, whether it would only serve one person or 100 or 1,000, we could self-publish and produce and distribute this ourselves. So unless somebody came in and took away all of our equipment and threw a gag order on us, our First Amendment rights aren't being squashed in any way.
Correct.
But, getting kicked off of platforms, the First Amendment does not guarantee you the ability to Facebook Live anything you want. It doesn't give you the ability to put anything you want on YouTube. It gives you the ability to speak your mind and your opinion, and that's it. Whether it's through the press or self-distribution. So hearing his idiocy and seeing it, although I got to admit, if you look back on some of the clips and coverage of him standing next to Marco Rubio trying to get Rubio to comment about this, I did feel a little kind of douchey when I realized that one of the people there who could have been with Alex Jones was wearing Google Glass still. And I could tell he was recording because if you know what to look for in Google Glass, if you see the prism is lit up with a big bright screen while somebody's constantly moving around, that's the indicator they're recording. So he may have been working with Jones to get footage.
I was gonna say how much of the internet did they have to scour to try and find a usable pair of Google Glass so that they could try and record the whole thing?
Well, I don't want to get into the reasons why, Trent, but about an investment of $500 on eBay and you could get it.
You could be in the know.
I no longer have a working, functioning pair of Google Glass. Actually, that's not true. I do, but they're foiled. Not that their dastardly plan was uncovered by those meddling kids. I mean that the reflective cover on the end came off, so there's nothing to reflect the image back. That's my last pair. I don't have any more, which is why you don't really see them wearing. And for me, Google Glass, the only thing that's beneficial is being able to quickly grab a picture or a video without having to take out your phone and hold up your phone. It's just like I'm capturing everything I'm looking at. And yes, I still do want another pair of Google Glass because I'm a douche. But yeah, it's not that hard to find. But it did give me pause. It's just like, okay, never mind. Because it does look different when it's set on a pair of glasses frames than when it's just the very dorky looking unibrow titanium band. But we're getting off the point here. It cracked me up seeing Alex Jones trying to do whatever he could in all, because I think at the time it was about Facebook and Google and the like having to go before Congress to talk more about like election meddling or no, I think it was Congress questioning them about supposed suppression of either left or right views. I don't remember which. It doesn't matter. It's the government jerking off. The tech companies are going to win. Nice try, guys. But it was great seeing him try to do this because for me, he was just coming off as a big idiot every time. I don't know what he's doing now. I don't know how he is broadcasting or distributing.
He's still got his own website where the videos are posted, etc. It's funny though because what looks like and this goes into evolutionary psychology, right? What looks like tomfoolery, buffoonery, craziness to us is for people that are supporters only makes the bond with him stronger, right? Because there is a evolutionary psychological advantage to siding with your tribe independent of logic, reality, cognitive. It essentially is creating cognitive dissonance. You're just not aware of it, right? And so that's the frightening part, right? Is that like it's so easy to just be like, see, without having to to challenge yourself into thinking like, is he right or not? And I don't know. I think it's a good exercise for all of us. Anytime we're like, just blindly following, like, to just be like, okay, is this right? I got to make sure I'm on the right side of this.
It's funny you mention that because I myself am amazed to a certain degree about the number of people that, for lack of a better term, buy in to conspiracy theories still. Like, in the case of, there are still people or Russian bots, I don't know which one, that will go on and on about Twitter shadow banning people. And this is
Right.
purportedly, because of your particular views, people aren't seeing these people's messages on Twitter. Never mind that you have to be subscribed to somebody to see their messages and what have
Right.
you.
And then the algorithm is going to things that you interact with. There's the key word, folks. Interact with is what they're going to show you more of than others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are going to be the things that pop up in your feed more. Because it still bothers me to no end to know that the timeline on Twitter or the timeline wall, whatever it is, stream on Facebook, is all dictated by an algorithm, and that's even when you try to force it to go.
I know.
Chronologically.
Still doesn't do real time. I know.
It's part of the reason why. Look, legitimately speaking, except for social media marketing purposes, I almost never go on Facebook now, Trent.
Yep. And for Twitter, for me, there's people I will jump on and look at their feeds, but I truly the second that it stopped doing a real time view, I was just. It lost what it gave me.
But yeah, and I'm with you there. But getting back to my point, I'm amazed at the number of people that still buy into conspiracy theories. But then I realized something, Trent. I realized that for lack of a better term, let's just say the disenfranchised few, conspiracy theories are the life's blood because it's something that gives them a common link to other people and other people's outlooks and beliefs.
Right.
It's the reason why Breitbart News is still being able to be considered as a news source for some people, because whether your view is in the majority or the minority, it gives you something to empathize with and connect with. So
it's a place to find your tribe, right? It's all back to this idea of tribalism.
But at the same time, it's also, I don't know, the one thing that I think I am most fearful about in this modern era is how quickly misinformation is able to be adopted as fact.
Right.
It is able to be disseminated and clung to at such an incredibly rapid pace now that, something that isn't even a thing can become something ever so quickly. Like I myself, over the past week, I think somebody tweeted an image, and it kind of showed how 3 followers of Ted Cruz at 2 a.m. in the morning all tweeted the exact same message. And at first I instantly retweeted it with @Jack, still not doing enough here or something.
Yeah.
But then I realized, wait a second, I didn't even vet this image. So I tried looking at the user profiles to see, did this message really go out from them? And I've been stung a few times myself. I don't know. We've really, in crossing the digital divide the way we have, I think we have almost made it so that it is extremely difficult to understand what truly is fact and what isn't. It's so hard to, and mind you, fact is nothing but a personal interpretation still, depending on what you're willing to accept or not accept.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, what we witness is the telephone game on all the steroids.
oh my gosh, it's on steroids, it's on the meth, several bumps of cocaine. Speaking of several bumps of cocaine, Trent,
I like where this is going.
I did not know that about you. I have been extreme. Yeah, look how quickly we're transitioning away from the things we don't know a lot about. But I have been in the background rewatching The Good Place, getting ready for this.
Oh, nice.
3
New
premiere.
season, yeah.
I have not truly, I think, fully appreciated this show for what it is. It is just so brilliantly written. If you are one of the few people that has still not taken in The Good Place, please know that if you have a Netflix subscription, you can watch the entire first 2 seasons, and it's a quick binge, folks. It is a really quick binge because it's a half-hour comedy, so that means it's 22 and a half minutes at a shot.
Yeah.
It is just, and especially when you get all the way to where we are now, it makes it that much more of a fun rewatch. Season 1 itself is completely redefined by the end of the first season. So
Yep. Yeah.
it you can take that journey and then you instantly want to take it again, looking for other things. And like, I didn't even remember. The name of the show is The Good Place, and within the first few episodes, there is a new restaurant opens called The Good Plates. And even myself,
yeah.
I saw the sign a few times, and it almost wasn't until Michael, the character, mentions, oh, I get it now, that I finally, like, wait a second, it's The Good Plates.
Oh, I get it now.
And that gets ramped up to a whole new level throughout the second season. So please, I just got to encourage people. Still, one of the most brilliantly written and enjoyable comedies on TV today, and it premieres the third season at the end of this month, so you can really get that in. But also, oh, wow, that was a real stretch just trying to say the word also.
That's the first time I've actually ever heard it.
Heard my speech impediment through my plastic trays?
Hold the tray. Yeah, I heard the tray. That's the first time I ever heard the tray. Yeah, it's like, oh, you are wearing a tray.
I think you have the benefit of listening on the other end of a compressed line. I'm still getting made fun of. But the other thing too, Trent, that I don't think we've even had the opportunity to talk about, and if we have, I apologize for not remembering, but the Venture Brothers has returned.
It has.
And not only has it returned, but look, I will say this about the Venture Brothers, because it's kind of the same thing with Rick and Morty. There is such a break between seasons that I often forget where we were, right?
Venture Brothers is worse, I think, compared to Rick and Morty.
Exactly. And the only reason why I think we may get less of that is because of the new deal with Adult Swim. I think Rick and Morty has a commitment all the way through like 100 episodes or something.
Yeah.
So, they have the benefit of being able to write knowing that they've got so much to do that maybe we'll be able to see a ramped up cycle. They've got a certain guarantee most shows do. Whereas Venture Brothers, which for me I think really kind of helped redefine what Adult Swim was on Cartoon Network. It too is also one of those very brilliantly written shows, and it came back full force. I couldn't remember where we was, but in this particular case, it didn't matter. The opening of this season, I think it spanned.
So I haven't watched any. I'm waiting, right? I've waited 2 years already. I can wait for these 10 episodes to come out to then sit down and just engulf it and just digest it all at once. So I am making the choice to wait on this one.
I admire you for your strength. I can't do that. I'm one of the people that has to watch Friday through adultswim.com in order to mostly because I'm not staying up till midnight on Sunday to watch the show.
To watch it. Yeah.
But I can't wait. I got to tell you, you got a lot to look forward to. These have been some really well-written episodes, some great stories.
Oh, I've no doubt.
And the story that we come back into, I kid you not, it spans the first 3 episodes, Trent. It's
nice.
Episode 1 is from one perspective, episode 2 is from another perspective, and episode 3 is the conclusion of the story.
Nice.
And they pulled it off really well. The only bad thing about that is knowing that we always have a limited number of episodes, I start to get pissed off. It's like, oh my gosh, it's kind of same thing with Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul again has come back really well. It's ramping up into the realm of Jimmy McGill becoming Saul Goodman.
Uh-huh.
But, like the other day I realized, oh my God, we're already at episode 6. We're almost, it's like, I don't mean to sound like a glass half full kind of guy, but like we're almost through the season.
Right.
And that's the problem with, I think, and even with The Good Place, I think they only have a 13 episode commitment. So we keep getting these pared down seasons and we've got these long breaks in between. It's maddening that we got to wait. Well, I guess it's not maddening. I'm about to make a self-defining statement here, but it's almost maddening we have to wait for quality, Trent.
And Venture Brothers is particular because, I mean, you've got 2 guys making that film or that TV series essentially, right? And that said, I haven't seen it, but I've only heard the best of praises. Friend of the, I think I can safely say this friend of the network, Ken Plume, just put out a book that is kind of a companion for all the seasons prior to Venture Brothers, that has been on the Diamond previews list at least 6 different times, and it finally came out last month.
Oh, wow.
If you can get your hands on it, I haven't seen it yet, but I've been told if you can get your hands on it and you're a Venture Brothers fan, it will become your favorite book within seconds.
And I'm not surprised because Ken has a relationship with the creators.
Yep.
When we see Henchman 21 living back at his parents' home, sort of the personification that we see out of the uniform, in some ways, that office and that character were inspired by Ken Plume.
Ken Plume, right? Yeah, exactly.
But so you're saying this compendium, this companion book, actually goes all the way up through the last season that we could have seen before the current one in information and details?
I believe so. Yeah, and
if
like
not, it's going to come darn close.
Interviews with the guy with Jackson Pollock and Doc Hammer and like just like inside, like this is like your commentary track on everything.
Damn. Well, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, if you can find it. It was frustrating because I remember seeing it multiple times when I was running the shop and it just barely came out.
Wow, that thing really was on the diamond list for a while.
No, really, like it would come up and they'd be like, "Oh, it's sorry that's been canceled. It's not coming out. Oh, sorry, that's been canceled. It's not coming out." Like multiple times.
Well, the good news is then, of course, quality once again proving itself. It's worth the wait. Now, Trent, hopefully we're about to talk about quality, but I can't guarantee it. But I think it's that time right before we wrap up to kind of get into my loot crate from last month, because I've broken the seal because much like when Will Ferrell opens a Pop-Tart in the movie Elf, it's already pre-opened so that we're not struggling with it. If you've ever, there's no way you can quickly open a Pop-Tart package.
No, without scissors.
And this much in the same way. Now I'm going to try and do some internet trickery here.
Okay.
I'm going to quickly try and adjust the image so that way we can do 2-in-1, if you will.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so let me see if I can do... Never mind, I should have done this in advance. I wish I had, but I didn't. So let me see. There's me. Now let me shrink me down. So now we can actually see both, Trent. We can see me showing the items, and we can show your reactions. Because this is my kind of unboxing. It's not so much about my reaction. I want to see about the guy on the other end of the line who may or may not really give two craps about this.
Sure. Well, we'll see.
And if you do like what you see here and you want to get a subscription to Loot Crate, go to netheadsonair.com, click the Loot Crate logo. It's just that easy. You can sign up. You get 10% off of your first crate or some kind of discount, and you can enjoy it. And I don't even know what the theme is, Trent, but already, just like my mystery box from Comic-Con, I see some Rick and Morty material.
Ooh.
What do we have here? Is a Rick and Morty Monster Mayhem figurine. Now she blows,
sweet.
my friend. Yeah, that's already.
I mean, I know we're getting the minutia. Who's the fabricator on it? Who made it?
It's made by somebody, Trent. It's made by. It just says Adult Swim. That's the licensing.
Okay.
I don't know if
that's
it's
fine.
a Q-Fig. I don't know. I bet
we don't need. Yeah. We need to get into it, but
well, you know what though? I mean, like,
let's get into it.
Yeah, let's bust the seal on this.
I want to see what's in that box, Will. Let's show me your box.
Let's see if it has any kind of indicator here. There's the monster.
Oh, yes. Oh, is it coming through the wall?
It's coming through the portal. Yeah, see, look at that.
Oh, that is badass.
Yeah, I don't see any licensing info, but it looks good. That's all that counts. As always with Loot Crate, you also get a T-shirt. This particular T-shirt is... Ooh, I think it's inspired by Office Space. PC load letter. It looks like a skull and crossbones here.
Nice.
Yeah, that's an Office Space inspired By the way, I definitely got to tell the people at Loot Crate maybe I can't have a subscription anymore because I got too many T-shirts.
I was gonna say I'm digging the Archer shirt you're wearing.
Thank you. Yeah, this is from 2016, Archer for President. Oh, look at this! It's a little notepad for taking your personal notes with Harley Quinn on the cover.
Ooh.
What is the theme? Oh, the nice thing is they do tell you what the theme is. Here is the loot pin of the month. Unboxing videos are so 2014, I know, but whatever. Courage the Cowardly Dog is featured on the pin.
Oh, so this is probably an animated series. is
we'll
the
see.
theme, right?
Well, it could be. No, Office Space wouldn't.
Oh yeah, shite.
And that's what's. Oh, and then the other thing too, for when you do get your new cell phone, Trent, it's a Justice League, Batman, bat symbol pop socket.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen the. Yeah. I feel like I'm the only human being that doesn't have this on their phone.
Yeah. See, you can kind of look here. I'm like, it's the backwards "live long and prosper" because I'm looking at my phone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have
yeah,
something.
yeah.
I have something similar on mine. It's
Or
not a pop socket.
if you want to pretend like you're a Ninja Turtle.
That's a better example. I was gonna almost say the Shocker. So
Well, that's this one.
Yeah, and
but you gotta have that space.
Well, I mean,
for the per diem.
I could.
You know.
Anyway, I have an elastic band on mine, so that way then I can, like, if I suddenly need to carry something, I've done this like maybe once in my life, but anyway, nobody
or
cares
if you have
about
like
that.
a carabiner, you want to like snap it onto.
Oh, here we go. The theme was for August was mayhem. Life gets messy sometimes, especially if you're making a mess. Well, some of your favorite characters and iconic
That's all
moments
courage had to do with.
have something in common. So there it is. There you go. So that was what was in Loot Crate last month, and you want to make sure if you want to get in on the loot, as it were, show me the loot, show me the loot. You want to do that by the 19th of the month because that is it. That's the last call for crates for that month. Get signed up by the 19th.
Good to know.
Go to netheadsonair.com, click the Loot Crate logo, get yourself subscribed, get yourself some cool stuff. I'm at the point now, Trent, where I need to, there's a section of fence I need to replace, and I'm eyeballing those 10-inch or 8-inch redwood beams so that I can replane them and turn them into floating shelves behind me because I got so many of these damn knickknacks now.
Yeah.
I got them all over my desk. Look here, I got Rick. I got this, what is it? Like a Peace Amongst Worlds Rick. I've got a Dark Elf for World of Warcraft who I had to crazy glue on there because she never stood on the stand. I've even got a little bobblehead of a falcon. I mean, this.
Oh, nice.
My favorite one, of course, is the dragon holding the 20-sided die, and that is a real 20-sided die that comes out. But I got these things everywhere. I need more shelves behind me. We're gonna have to get rid of some of this and put some other stuff up there, just so I can have all my nifty collectibles.
As John Hodgman said, and I believe coming from Jonathan Roderick, the difference between a hoarder and a collector is a display case.
Exactly, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to replane them shelves and do some nice floating ones, which is really easy to do, but nobody wants to hear about this old house kind of crap from me. Remember, netheadsonair.com, click the Loot Crate logo, get yourself a discount, get yourself some cool stuff. Loot Crate, it's cool. Is that a good commercial title?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that the new tagline?
No, it's just something I came up with right now.
Yeah, I like it.
There we go.
It's a cool crate for cool cats.
There you go. Oh yeah. I cut away from you. I should have. Do it again, and that way you can do the Mentos pause at the end.
It's a cool crate for cool cats.
And now we have a thumbnail. Wonderful.
There
Thank
you go.
so much.
There you go.
Well, Trent, we've been going for a while. I think it's time to wrap this bad boy up. I want to thank everybody that did participate live. Those of you enjoying it after the fact, thank you as well. We always Steve Erdley on Facebook said, that's not a Ninja Turtle hand, Trent. Okay. Watch
That's
out there,
what
my buddy.
Wonder why I'm single.
Well, I see The Office behind you, and I have a few clues, but then again...
Don't mind. Don't pay attention back here.
Dude, I got superheroes coming through my wall, and it's also a professional backdrop during the week, so... Anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Really appreciate it. Want to remind you we got more shows coming up. It's going to be Trent. We're going to be talking to Odin Abbott from Odin Makes. If you haven't seen him on YouTube, be sure to check that out, because he does a lot of quick, practical, low-cost ways to make movie replicas. Like, I really want him to make me an Infinity Gauntlet, so that way I can get rid of this cheap knockoff one that doesn't articulate at all. And it doesn't fit my hand. But this too will go on the shelves behind me, because it's not a full collection unless you got an Infinity Gauntlet, right?
It's true. It's true.
And I got to have a place to put my my Time Lord Messenger box.
Yes.
That one's from the Corsair. You can tell because of the.
Yeah. See, what I want, Will, is I want your Infinity Gauntlet to be having the One Ring to rule them all.
Oh.
With a dual wielding in the same hand a magic screwdriver and a lightsaber out. So it's just like this. So it is like the gauntlet of I'm gonna you up is what it is.
They're very good. I'll take that. I like your approach. By the way, one of the things that did happen since you and I last talked, I think it's like October 12th or 27th, Doctor Who is moving from Saturday to Sunday, and we do have a premiere date. New season's only going to have 10 episodes, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there.
And will this be with the new Doctor?
Yes, this will. The new Doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, so the Doctor is
Correct.
now a female, which I jokingly...
Get over it.
Well, I jokingly thought
Internet.
to myself, Trent, that, okay, well, so they're only going to have 10 episodes this season, but then I realized what people will say is, well, a woman can get more done with less, right?
So true.
Yeah, see, I'm
So
I'm
true.
one of them clever ones. Anyway, anything you wanted to plug before we go, sir? Did you want to plug the newsletter that still has to come out?
No, not yet. I do want to plug. We've had some regular updates on the Smodco News, so check out Smodco News. We're trying to get new pieces out once a week.
Speaking of which, I discovered something interesting while I was tooling around in the backbones of Squarespace. I will be, and we'll see what happens, but I will be applying for an Apple News ID so that our news section can be published as Apple News Stories.
As an Apple News Story, so it'll come into your feed if you're following it. Nice.
Exactly.
Nice.
So soon, my friend, of the one place you never expected to be, we may see your name within the Apple News area.
Yeah. And folks, if you got an idea that you think is Smod newsworthy, just tweet at me, add a part of him.
Yep, that's all you have to do. Because Trent is at the time right now. He's the in-house writer for Smodco News. It's all him. You know?
I'm in Utah writer.
No, I'm in. What did I say?
I in-house, which you're right, but I'm in Utah. It was just fun. I'm making fun words out of other words. It's fun.
It's not your fault. I'm an idiot. You don't have to apologize. I got what you were saying. You're in a house in Utah. Okay, I'm with you. I'm just dense. Yeah. I'm dumb. I'm sorry,
man.
No,
stop it. No, you're not. You're beautiful.
Thank you. And stop antagonizing me by saying magic screwdriver or whatever it is you said.
What it is.
It's a MacGuffin in a way. The sonic screwdriver is nothing but a. Have you seen the new one, by the way? This is Jodie Whittaker's one, and here, let me go to the split screen again, so that way, it's interesting. You'll get a kick out of this, especially having been inside of the what are those things called? Hold on, work with me here.
Digildonic Institute.
No. Look, I said this on Dr. Squeeze Gallifrey Stands podcast, and I'm going to say it here too. If this is what your phallus looks like, you got issues.
God damn it. God damn it.
No, I was just going to say, the convenience stores and the gas stations, you will appreciate that it has some type of crystal at the end.
Yeah.
But it does rotate. So.
Damn it.
Yeah, it does move. It's interesting. I haven't seen a single frame of the show, but needless to say, I have this.
It does still. It makes the same noise though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And then it makes this little chirpy noise.
I don't know what that is. That's frightening.
It's the healing power of crystals rotating.
I can only hope that it also has a pouch for my essential oils I can rub on my feet when I'm sick.
Thank you. Exactly. What's the name of that stuff? The major brand that people all the housewives push?
doTERRA?
No, that's an other one I'm thinking of, but I can't remember what the name of it is. Hold on, I could. Not every no. Young Living. There we go. Young Living essential oils. Healing crystals and essential oils. That's what the whole new Doctor Who. I think I mentioned this on Squeeze podcast, but it's really kind of interesting that it has wood grain to it, but it has and this was fun to talk about with the new trays first in my mouth, but it has a certain look as though it has been somewhat smelted, if you will.
Sure.
So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's like wood cast in metal for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Preservation.
Not so it's got some wood grain in it. It's not unlike a Cadillac, right? It's sleek yet stylish.
I kind of like this. I'm thinking maybe I should switch it to where our camera angles always include the other person in the shot so that when I'm talking, we can still see you, and when you're talking, you can still see me. And that way people will also know one of us has to go off camera when suddenly that angle's not around.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, when they're like, whoa, what happened? Why's Trent just speaking?
Yeah, when you're making a very salient point and I come back clueless because I've been off trying to find the loot crate box, which often happens.
Yes.
Anyway, once again, thank you very much to everyone for taking part in the program. We always enjoy it. Don't forget you can follow the show NetHeads on air via Twitter. No, wait, what is it on Twitter? Is it NetHeads on air?
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is.
There we go. And as it always tells you, I am at NetHeadWW on Twitter. Trent is a part of him, and you can find out everything about the show at netheadsonair.com, including the link over to our Patreon, because exclusive events may occur there. I say may on that one. But you definitely do get commercial-free access to the podcasts right away through Patreon, and it's early access too. So, like, for example, this is going to probably not drop until Monday or Tuesday, but it'll probably be available later today via that. And then you say, but Will, the video is on Facebook and it's on YouTube. Well, not shortly after this, my friends. No. I'll be turning it off and then turning it on again. Turn it off and on again.
It's got to be treated.
Exactly. We have to put it through a brining process. Very careful brining process, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait. That's you and I. We get brined, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, it depends on if you've got like a cast iron pot or not.
I do have
I'm
a cast iron skillet.
I'm thinking brazing. Never mind.
It's one or the other. By the way, I have. We've talked about the pressure cooking. Man, I'm finding new and fun uses for an Instant Pot lately. So if you want to hear about that, nobody does. I'm moving on. Until next time, folks, my name is Will.
I'm Trent.
And we'll be back.
Soon.
I hope so.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off. I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it. NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
I wonder if people are coming to rely now on me cutting to you dancing on the videos every time when that happens.
Did you cut again? I love it. That is my ringtone, by the way, and everyone at work loves it.
Really? That excites me. And other people are probably hearing this going, wow, how can I get that as a ringtone?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for outing me, Trent. I appreciate that.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I just recorded it. When it came on the radio, I hit play record on my tape cassette because I was ready because I thought they were going to play some Hootie and the Blowfish, you know?
And instead you got the you got this.